podcast. I'm your host, Humberto Gonzalez. If you want to see more of this content, please like and subscribe. Today's guest, we have Vance Roberts from Illini Bluffs High School. Thanks for stopping by, and stay tuned for what's coming up next. Welcome everybody back to the Kraken Lair podcast. I have a awesome guest today. We have Vance Roberts from Illini Bluffs. Welcome, Vance. How you doing?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Very good. All right. So I'm gonna throw a little curveball. Normally we have 8 questions to give to our guests, but today I want to know a little bit of story about Vance. What is or has been your favorite memory competitive fishing wise? Like, give us the story, give us something that you know the viewers won't ever have an idea of what's going on unless you actually sit down with them and tell us the story.
Okay, so I guess one of the more recent ones I'm going to say is it was the tournament right at the end of the year last year. We qualified for the Nationals tournament for the MLF up in La Crosse, and we qualified at the Ozark tournament. And I guess backstory to it, me and my cousin, well, my grandma has a condo down there and we fish there all the time. So we're kind of like really used to we really like the lake and all that. And so we were really excited for this tournament. We had our spots picked out, and they didn't really work at first. It was kind of slow in the morning, caught a couple fish. And then right at the end, we hit these, like we're slowly working our way back to the boat ramp. And we had these 3 points that we wanted to fish. And then my dad told us, he's like, okay, let's go around this corner. And he's like, I know there's a brush pile back here. So we go to this brush pile, and we had 3 fish back to back. And those were our keepers. I got the jig right here.
No, yeah, show us. Yeah, show us.
We're fishing deep, so it's a heavier jig. This right here. It was a Crocker Gators brand. So I was throwing that, and I caught 2, I think, and then Ethan caught 1, and they were all about 2.5 pounders. So we only had 3 fish that day, and we weren't really expecting to do really good, but we ended up being 5th place. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And that was, you said that was an MLF.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, that's something that's what's really unique about you two is your cousins, and your dad's your boater. And we'll get into that more in the questions moving forward. But I just think it's such a unique experience, stories that you'll develop and remember forever. I think that's a special thing that you two will have. So that's great. All right, let's get into the questions. Okay. I'm changing a little up on the questions just because this is a more one-on-one. You're our first solo guest. The last two have been duo. So you're our first solo guest. So this is kind of like the Vance show. Yeah. I'm going to give you a little. I do want to go through the resume of Vance, and I just want to give you some statistics. So, and if I get anything wrong, let me know, Vance. But I'm going to start off with the IHSA statistics. So in 2020-2021 season, your team took 2nd place and qualified for the IHSA state finals. Yeah. In 2021-2022, your team took 3rd place, which means you're the alternate. And you guys only missed it by.
Well, I don't think we. No, wait. Were we the alternate? No, it's top three go to. It was top three go, and in fourth place is the alternate.
Okay, so there you
So,
go. So you were a two-time state qualifier.
Yeah.
So okay, so you weren't the alternate. That's perfect. So now it even looks better, your resume. It's a two-time IHS state qualifier.
Yeah.
So I did have there. I thought it was top two, but you didn't. So if it was top two, you would have missed it only by 5 ounces. But honestly, you didn't. So boom, corrected. There you go. So now I got to get my facts down. So for the next time, I just on the spot correction. I love it. And then for your ICAST, so I want to give you this unique stat. It's really cool. I don't know if you know this, but you have fished 23 ICAST events.
Jeez. Wow.
23. Yeah. How amazing is that? So I'm just like looking through all the statistics, writing down your accolades. And then I'm like, I'm going to keep track of how many events he's fished. And 23 events, and that's including season 1, season 2, and currently in season 3. Yeah. And I think I'm almost positive you guys have signed up for every single event except for one because of prom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go through some of the resume stuff on ICAST. So you are a 2-time All-State angler, and clearly on your way to be a 3-time All-State. And I want to touch on the All-State in a little bit, but just give me a chance. You're a 2-time class qualifier, and you're currently going towards a 3rd time. And I believe I have a question in there that's specific to that.
Yeah,
we'll get down to that a little bit later. So in season 1, I have some finishes in some of these events. Some of these events, obviously, not everybody does really well, but we're going to go down to the events that you had at least a top 20 finish. So event 2, Otter Lake, 2nd place. Event 3, Jacksonville, 10th place. Event 5, Newton, 17th place. And that was a big tournament. Yeah. And then event 12, Shelbyville, 5th place. So 4 really good finishes that season, which you and your partner Dalton at that time for season 1 got you guys to the Clash Championship. At the time, it was called the State Championship. Now it's called the Clash. Well, I'm referring it all to the Clash because I just want it to be super different. Yeah. Season 2, I have another good events finished, and season 2, you and I will talk about it. You guys had your struggles, right?
Season 2 is definitely one of the rougher ones.
Yeah,
early spring really sucked for us for that.
Yeah, and I remember you and I having some conversations at some of the weigh-ins, and you were pretty positive about how you guys were doing, even though I knew you knew that it was just a struggle. It big difference.
So much better. Yeah, it could have been way better, but
for sure.
I try to stay positive every time, but with it.
Yeah, and kudos to you. And I think just kind of like our last guest, you are a very positive person. I think that positive energy does translate over time, and it gives you that. I don't know what it is, but it lets you keep going, moving forward to the next event. So season 2, some events that you've finished pretty well. So event 1 at Shabana, which you traveled all the way up north, which is really great. 11th place. Event 3, Springfield, you got a 14th place. Event 4, Pool 13, another one that's up the river. And you guys are kind of like river fishermen because you're literally right off the river.
We are,
just south of Pekin, right?
No, we're north. We're north.
North of Pekin, south of Peoria, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Got to get my demographics down. Pool 13, you got 11th places there as well. Event 12, Clinton Lake, you got 19th place. And people were like, well, 19th place. There was like 80 boats at that event. That's what people don't remember. Actually, there was 91 boats at that event.
That was a huge tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the one that was canceled. And then we had a reschedule.
Oh, yeah.
And then we still had a lot of boats. And then moving down to event 3, which the fall, and we still haven't even started the spring. So we got a lot of good events coming up. I know you guys are you're gonna buckle down and you're gonna try to fish your best you can, because I feel like it's shown in these few events. So event 4 at the Kankakee Des Plaines, 9th place. Event 6 at Kincaid, 8th place, and event 7, Lake of Egypt, 20th place. So just looking at the statistics, out of the 23 ICAST events, you've had 11 top 20, 5 top 10, and 2 top 5. I did the math. That means when Vance Roberts from Illini Bluffs fishes, he has a 78% chance of placing in the top 20.
Man, I never would have thought of it like that.
So I did these statistics on purpose because I know we're going to have some people that, you know, and it's not a secret that nobody fishes in the Northwest region at ICAST, right? So people are like, well, you know, they got the easy in. If you look at statistics, 78% of the time you're finishing in the top 20% in the fields that are just full of unbelievable anglers, right? So to show that you're in the top 20%, that's the proof. And I wanted to show that to you so that you can understand that you are an all-state angler. You deserve that award. It's not just given to you. Yeah, no one else fishes in the region, but you know what? You're not the very bottom. You're always in the middle. And I feel like I remember saying this when you received your first all-state award. You're just a consistent team. If you look at these numbers, it's just consistently like in the top 20, and it just shows the 78%. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I definitely wouldn't have known that if you wouldn't have said anything. That's
so
cool.
I figure, you know, people want proof, they want numbers, and bam, 78% of the time, Vance Roberts is finishing in the top 20. Just FYI. All right, so how about that? Yeah,
that's awesome.
So now I'm going to start even being more nerdy with the numbers. Just, I mean, I'm super nerdy with all that stuff. I love statistics. I think it's like the baseball background in me. Just love the averages and the numbers and all that. Whatever. We'll get down to analytics in a different one. So let's get down to the 8 questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right. So this first one, get your notes out. Get your notes. I do send the questions out to the guest early on, so this way we don't catch him off guard, and he can kind of look over and he doesn't fumble, and that people get this down. So question 1, I think I'm super proud for you of this one. I mean, I obviously we're not related, right? But I feel like I have a connection with a lot of these anglers, and including yourself. You guys go from, you know, being in your first event to your 23rd event, and the growth that I see within, you know, the actual statistics of fishing, the growth of confidence, and the growth of just everything, right? And I just want to give you props on that. I think there's a huge difference between season 1 Vance Roberts and season 3, right?
Yeah. Oh, that 100%. Yeah.
I mean, you could just see it in the conversation right now. If you guys would have talked to Vance 2 years ago, you'd be like, man, this guy doesn't say a word.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk.
All right. The first question: you are going to be fishing at McKendree University. First off, congratulations. Next year, what does that mean to you? Fishing at McKendree, which, if people don't know, that is one of the best universities to fish as a bass fishing angler.
I'm super excited for it, because it's kind of always been a dream. I've always like looked. I follow like the college bass on Instagram and stuff. And I always see like they're always placing top 5s and stuff. They've always been super good. And I never like really thought about going to college and fishing until we started really doing good in high school. And I was like, maybe I could actually do this. And then it's actually because of the All-State Awards, I got talking to the coach, and we started talking and stuff. And I kind of realized that this was actually going to be like, I could really do this. It's a real thing. And I was super excited. I'm really excited to be able to travel the country with them and see all these new lakes and everything, and meet new people. And that's the main thing. I really want to go see these new bodies of water that I've never fished and get out of Central Illinois, you know?
Yeah, get a new challenge in, and, you know, just challenge yourself fishing wise. Exactly. I'm super proud of you. I think this is awesome. I mean, I just listening to you, I'm like freaking getting goosebumps, and it's so cool because I'm just excited for you. I envy every single angler that fishes our series, because it's you hear probably from so many old people like, oh, I wish this was around. I wish this was around. And we all really do wish this was around, because it's such a cool thing. And I saw your signing day at school. I saw your mom post it on social media. It was so cool. I mean, was that the AD that was talking?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So like even him, he was trying to like convince the people that were listening to it, like, hey, bass fishing's a real it's a college sport, you know. So it's so congratulations on that part. So that, I mean, that's such a cool thing. It's such a great experience. And the great thing about it is we're starting to get so many alumni, and I'm going to call alumni from the ICAST series, going to McKendree University, going to other colleges.
Didn't we have like, I swear we had like, I knew there were a bunch of guys from Jacksonville that went.
Yeah, Gage and Connor from Jacksonville, they're currently fishing there. There is a Naperville Central kid that's fishing there, August. There's Maxwell Trotter, who fished at St. Teresa in season 1 his senior year. So I mean, and then there's Jackson Freeman from Rantoul Township. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry. Just leave it in the comments later and yell at me, and I'll apologize. But I think that's all the ICAST from season 1, 2 that are fishing there, and it's just going to get bigger, and it's just great, you know. So yeah, so now I kind of want to bleed into the second question, which we kind of alluded to a little bit. Is I remember you as a sophomore, which is the season 1, and you were kind of a low-key, quiet angler. You know, you're just a consistent on fishing. You know, doing all this. We went over your stats already. Just showed you how you are. Where in your high school fishing career did you have that flip of the switch and become this confident angler, even though you struggled, like you said, in season 2? But that confidence is still there. Yeah. When did it happen that you just said, you know what, I'm a different animal, it's time to go? I
think still, I wrote this stuff down because I didn't want to forget it. But I really think I've always felt confident in how I fish and stuff. It's just the way I perceive it, like for everybody else to see me. I don't, because I try to stay humble. I don't like to be cocky and stuff. So I really think it definitely was my junior year. It would have been junior year after we qualified for state for IHSA again. I just kind of felt like, and then so we qualified for state again, and that's about the same time I started talking to McKendree. So I think the combination of everything, like really feeling, I get confidence from that stuff. I'm like, wow, I can really do this, and it just kind of kept going. I kind of showed it a lot more, kind of held myself up higher, knowing all this stuff, and I can actually do it. And yeah. I mean, you could just listen to your voice and just there's no words to put into it, right? Of like when it just flipped and it's just, you're ready. I'm good. And I'm sure talking to coach at McKendree, John, right? I think his name is. It just gives you that even more of the confidence, because probably moving after that conversation, you leave from it thinking, you know what? It's not like he blew me off. He was interested. And if he's interested, that means I'm really good. Or he sees something in me that can develop and get better. Because you could be, you know, struggling here and there, but you still have the end of this spring to finish. And then you have 4 years of fishing at college. You don't know where you're going to go from there, how well you're gonna do that, you know, that first year, the second year, your third year. So I think that's great. It's good to hear that it just flipped, and it's good that you've always had that confidence. You just didn't really kind of show it. I never like really held myself up to it. But then like I said, there's no like specific moment that I was like, oh, I just gained the confidence. It's just a bunch of little things kind of built up towards the end, and I just kind of felt it, you know. Yeah, that's good. I'm trying to stay away from the word awesome. I feel like every time I've watched these podcasts back, I'm just like, awesome. I'm like, I should start tallying them that next time. Every time I say awesome, it's just not a good thing. So I'm trying to slow myself down. So this, but you know what? I like to be organic and whatever. If I say awesome a million times, then I say awesome a million times, whatever. I mean, all right. So then the next question, and this is the funny question that listeners have to hear. And I feel like I've said this so many times, and I think it's because I'm jealous. Honestly, I'm super jealous. Your team is known as like the yacht boat, right? You have this gigantic boat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, now you know who Vance Roberts is. It's the yacht boat, it's bright yellow. You can't miss it. The aluminum, yellow, right? Trim. Give us some insight fishing on it. Okay, so I'll give a backstory to the boat. So basically, my dad's friends with the guys who make the boat. I work for them. and it's AD. They make custom boats. They make like all aluminum custom boats. So we bought this boat just like I was really young when we bought it, but we've had it more as like a pleasure boat. And then once we start going down to the Ozarks, me and my dad really started to get into fishing together. So we kind of decked it out as a fishing boat, put a trolling motor on it, got a bunch of depth finders and stuff, and put it on it. So it wasn't actually meant to be a bass boat, but now it is, and it's nice for all the lakes we can take it to, because I mean, on long days it's nice because we got a bunch of seats on the sides and in the back, and there's plenty of room. We have a lot of fishing tackle, and it covers the whole boat.
I can't even stop myself from smiling so hard. I'm trying to like close my mouth, because I mean, I could only imagine the amount of equipment that you guys can house there, and like the comfort level. It doesn't seem like it hinders you, right?
No, not. The only downside to it is mobility. Like you can't take sharp turns and stuff in it when you're on the trolling motor. That's the only thing. You're like trying to get, like, if we cannot get between docks. Like, that's the one downside, is if you're trying to fish close quarters, it's not the best boat for that. But besides that, it's awesome. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you probably have like drone footage of us. If you look down the boat, you see
you'll wait till you see the intro. You're like, I got drone footage of you guys somewhere.
Yeah, there's stuff everywhere.
I mean, it's every time I'm driving the drone, I'm like, oh, there goes an Illini Bluffs. But yeah,
I would hard to miss it all.
Yeah, no, I will say, you know what? Once you get Vance Roberts on a bass boat in college, watch out, because if he's going to be able to fish in between docks, it's going to be like a brand new angler. You're like, oh my God, look at this.
Yeah.
All right. So this next question, we kind of talked about a little bit, but as a 2-time All-State angler, and I think soon to be 3.
I sure hope so.
I think so. I lost the track of my question here. As soon to be 3-time All-State angler, how has that changed your mindset? And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how has that changed your mindsets? And now me giving you the statistics that, I mean, mathematically, you're a really good angler.
Yeah.
So how does that change you as an angler, knowing that you got these accolades, you do well? Yeah.
It does help. I do like knowing all this stuff, and I still try to stay humble. I try to humble myself about it. I don't go brag about it, because it is what it is. I'm there to like do my thing. I go to fish, and that's really it. But I do really help, because secretly does give me a lot of confidence, and kind of like hypes me up that I can do all this stuff, and I do it year after year. But I don't like to brag about it.
You know what? You'll brag about it when you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, this one time just so you know, I finished 3-time All-State angler, and I'm not jinxing you. Yeah, I have a really strong feeling, Vance, that you and Ethan are going to be 3-time. Well, at least you will. Ethan will be too. And I think he's 1 year younger than you, right? Your cousin?
Yeah, he is. Yep.
All right. So he'll be able to match you. So this way the Roberts don't have any.
The only problem is I didn't have my freshman year. He had his freshman year, so he could have it 4 times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Because he could
potentially beat me.
Yeah. You know what? He might.
He could.
So we gotta. Oh man, that's gonna be fun stuff. But you know what? That's good for you guys for sure. So all right, go on to the next question. What I want to know this personally, and it's like, what's the ultimate goal for Vance Roberts? What, like, when it's all said and done, is it fishing? Is it career? Is it what is it? It doesn't have to be fishing, but what's the ultimate goal for you?
That's tough. That's something like I've really just started thinking about, like, this year, like with me going to McKendree and what I'm going to go to school for and all this stuff. And I really couldn't give you a definite answer, because I have so many options of what I want to do, of like whether I go and actually fish professionally afterwards or something, or I go be a guide at a lake, or I come back and I help, and I go back to the boat business and I help them work there, or go help my dad. Like, there's so many options. I don't know.
Yeah.
Totally. So I really have to see where college takes me and how that goes. But
yeah. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I changed my mind after my freshman year in college, and I don't want to talk about me because this ain't about me, but it
Okay.
happens, right?
Yeah.
You change your mind, and the good thing is like all the things that you talked about, they're kind of in the fishing world, which is really cool.
Yeah. I'm saying no matter what, fishing is going to be part of my life after college. It's
Yeah.
always going to be there.
I mean, this is we're gonna go off a little tangent. So for you listeners, let's listen up on fishing. Fishing is such a great thing, in my opinion. There's so many cool things in the world that you can do with your friends, family, but I just think fishing is one of those things that you can kind of carry on with generation after generation. I mean, I got into fishing because my dad got me into fishing. He used to take us, me and my brother used to take us and just kind of like, I guess it was like, hey, he's got to babysit us for that day. And I remember it's a very like small glimpse of memory, and he was carp fishing, which was really cool. And at the time, I don't know what the heck that was. It's just fishing. I was a little kid, and he had his rod in the pole holder. And I remember somebody yelling, grab the rod. And me being a little kid, I just grab it. And like, I felt a fight back, right? I don't think people realize when you have a fish on the other side of your line, when it's fighting, it's hard to explain that feeling. It's really,
it is. The thing is, it's super quick. A lot of the time, like
yeah,
unless you're really playing with it, you don't get it a lot. Like it's there and you want it again, so you keep.
yeah,
You keep
it's so
going back.
addicting. It's crazy how stupid we are going out there to fish for hours for just one or two fish, but when you land it, I mean, it's
awesome.
It is, yeah. And that's why I wish I had more footage of kids. And I think I'm going to start getting more footage of kids on the boat, because when you land a fish, when someone gets in that and puts it in, I mean, it is unbelievable. I kind of asked that question on those last two guests, like what goes through your mind when you catch a fish? And he paused and he's like, oh my God. It's kind of one of those things that happens, right? It's super fun for sure. All right, next question. Oh man, we're already on question 5, 6, 5.
Oh wow,
5. I can't count. Sorry.
We're going through them fast.
Well, don't worry. We'll stick around. All right.
Yeah.
All right. This is a scenario question. You have 4 fish in the box by 10 a.m. You have 1 hour to go, and nothing has worked in those past 3 hours.
Yeah.
What are you throwing to get that last keeper?
I'm flipping all the way. Like I don't have specifics on what I'm flipping, but I'm flipping something, whether it's a shaky head, Texas rig, creature bait, a worm, a big jig, a small jig. I'm flipping something, but like depending on where I'm fishing, if I have to, I'm gonna live and die by flipping. I'll go flip a tree, flip a rock, flip a dock, anything. I even got baits out for you. I got
bring them out. Yeah.
So like the jig I showed you right here, I got brush hogs, I got creature baits. These are my go-to creature baits, the rage bugs.
Yeah.
And then for like midsummer, I like them like flipping a 10-inch worm. I try to get big bites on those. But
what is it about flipping that you feel like I'm gonna live and die by the flipping? I
think it's a lot more, sounds weird, but like a lot more personal with the fish, I guess. Because like, I'm not a whole fan of like chucking and whining. Like I hate throwing crankbaits and spinner baits because you just chuck in and reel it in. You just like, and most of the time I don't even know why I get a feel. I can just feel it load up all the time. I like the flipping because you'll feel you feel the bottom, and then you can legit feel the fish bite it or watch it run one way or another, and you just like can set the hook on it. I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah,
that feeling of catching a fish, you get that a lot more than if you were just like chucking and whining a spinner bait or something like that.
No, I get that. It's more personal. It's kind of like one-on-one, right? Like it's like a one-on-one battle. It's like, you know what? It's me versus you. Like I'm gonna catch you, and I'm gonna present this right in front of your face, and you're gonna take it because I need you, right? Opposed to kind of like, I love spinnerbait fishing, and I said that in the last podcast. I really do like chucking and going, and I think it's a little bit because I'm kind of ADD, even though I've never been diagnosed. I just love like, it's just one of those where you just kind of get after it. But I do like that flipping because you kind of have to get into this tunnel vision, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, you get to feel the bottom, you get to kind of feel everything. And it is like, I like how you said that it feels personal, like I'm getting after it type of thing. That is that is super interesting to hear that vantage point. So let's say you couldn't flip. There was the type of body of water you're at.
Okay.
I don't know if you fished Heideke that one year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There's really no flip in
We
there.
tried to flip though. we were flipping. We're just we're chucking and dragging.
I mean, you can flip anything, right? You know, you can flip anything. But this body water, it's hard. It's not really the flipping style. So let's say you're there.
Okay.
You got 1 hour to go. How are you going to catch in the fish there? What are you doing?
Let me think. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah. Now I got to make you think.
I got to think now. I'd have to go with the crankbait, I guess.
Even though you just said I hate crankbait.
Well, you said I couldn't flip though.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Sorry.
If I can't flip anything, I got to throw a crankbait. I don't know why. No, one thing, I hate jerk baits. That's the main thing I hate.
Okay, yeah. I would say that. Me too. I'm probably just not really good at it.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't have the patience for it. I'm not good at it. I don't have the patience for it.
Oh, but I mean, I've watched a lot of videos and watch people fish with the jerk bait, even like with it's boating, and I'm just like, I can replicate that. And when you do it, you're like, man, this sucks, or I just suck at it. It's just I like square bills. I think the square bill is super fun because you're not fishing super deep, right? I like fishing a square bill because it's very similar, and I don't know what it is. I just like the sensitivity of bait.
Yeah.
Right. I think
it's just I don't know, because I'm not a big spinner bait guy. I know don't even know I'll throw them, but just like certain time but if you look in the boat, I'll have a crankbait on and flip the pole. That's all, crankbait and flip the pole. That's usually what I might throw a chatterbait or like a bladed jig here and there. But depending if it's like really grassy, I'll do that. But it's mainly crankbaits or flipping. Nice. If I can't flip.
Yeah. It's I mean, sometimes you just got to stick to what you're good at, and you're confident with what you have, and you feel like you could put the fish in. And that's a really cool thing about fishing. That's another thing we got to give props to, like anglers, right? This is such a scientific, sport where your deck will look completely different from other opponents on the body of water, and you're fishing the same body of water, and you're going to catch them differently. That's such a unique thing about bass fishing that, like, for instance, your technique is going to work, but if you put someone else's technique into your hands, it just might not work, right? Because it's not something that you're confident in. You're not, you don't feel it. You're just like, no, I don't feel it. I don't feel it type of thing. It's not there. So yeah, I mean, that's fun. I like that. I like throwing you a little curveball. Like, if it's not flipping, then what? I hate the crankbait. We were just making fun of you with the square bill, which
square bills. I don't like throwing them.
Yeah. All right. All right. So continuing with the flipping, and let's get you back to the flipping. What's your go-to color when you're going to be flipping something? And is it jig? Is it Texas rig? What are you flipping?
I'm usually throwing a Texas rig most of the time. I've kind of started to get into throwing jigs more, just because I feel like you get a bigger bite usually, and you're not breaking plastic stuff. Like, I feel like I go through like 3 bags or something in a tournament if I'm flipping all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm usually flipping Texas rig. I keep it simple though. I don't get crazy with the colors. It's either black and blue or green pumpkin, or I do like a watermelon red if that's like the craziest color I'll get. if
that's your craziest color, I mean, watch out.
And then like my jigs, I'll just stay. I usually just throw. Well, I like with your with the hook ripping jigs, I like throwing the black. I like throwing straight black.
Yeah, you thank you for that. You purchased a lot of those black ones, which I have noticed. I remember looking at one of your orders. I'm like, does he really want 7 black jigs? And they were all different, but I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna guess, and that's why I wanted to ask him. Like, I'm gonna guess he's probably really into the black color.
Yeah, because when it comes to my jigs, I'll stick with so like creature baits are black and blue or green pumpkin. My jigs are either green pumpkin or like a brownish color or black, because then I'll mix the trailers up, because the
Yeah.
trailers will be the funky colors, like with the black, I'll put a black and blue trailer on it or something. Green pumpkin will either put a brown or green pumpkin color on, whatever.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and what I think the water, like, just try to read the water, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That definitely makes a difference. I do like the mixing of the colors of the trailer. I think that's I think a lot of people get stuck with, oh, it's a green pumpkin jig, I gotta go green pumpkin. Oh, it's a black and blue jig, I gotta go black. I like the contrast of crazy color heads, the skirts, to the soft plastics. I mean, it's endless.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
you
just
can get so crazy with the colors and stuff.
yeah, it's such a cool variety that you have and have the option to. All right, so question number 7. Who do you have to thank for getting you into fishing? I kind of got into it, and I had to thank my dad, and I got others to thank too. But for you, who do you have to thank to get you into
So it
fishing?
definitely it comes down to my dad, my uncle, and my grandpa. So I kind of like got phases. Like I started out fishing with my grandpa. Like we'd always go to like farm ponds and stuff, and I'd go fish with him in his John boat. So he really got me into it to start, and and then my uncle was kind of like the guy I always try to beat. Like we have our own tournament that we fit, like our local tournaments that we fish. He's the guy I'm always trying to beat. We're always talking crap to each other, and we're always trying to beat each other.
Is that Ethan's dad?
No, this would be other side of the family.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then my dad's obviously my dad's my coach, so he's always pushing me. And like if we're having a bad day, he keeps me level headed. He tries to keep it simple and just like it's always constantly pushing me and that stuff. So it's a combination of all 3 of those guys.
That's cool. I mean, it's 3 great male figures in your life that you'll be thankful for, and I can almost guarantee you somehow, some way you'll pass it down to somebody else in your family, and it's such a cool thing. Like I see it like fishing with my own son, like when he caught a few bluegill here and there, and he was so excited, and he was like holding it like a bass, right?
Yeah.
Like little lips, and it looks cool because he's got little hands, so it looks like it's such a big fish. My brother has a little pond right behind his townhouse, so I mean, and it's like a cheater pond, which is super fun for the kids, because like
you can't go wrong with those.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, right? So when he goes out there, when we go out there and visit him, we catch fish too, and that's super fun. My brother and I fished so much growing up. I mean, we were one night outside, and it's funny, this is a fun story, and I gotta say this because it was raining, and when it rains, you get night crawlers, and we live really close to the city, so there's no like farm ponds by us, there's none of that. We had one pond. It was like a public pond that's like a forest preserve. We do have the Des Plaines River, but like it was known as like the dirty river when all growing up. So, but it's still a good fishery, just not where I grew up. But we're out there, we're trying to catch night crawlers because we're gonna go to this pond the next day and catch some bluegill. And then all of a sudden we hear this guy saying something like, "What are you guys doing?" And like me and my brother, we look up, and we're apartment buildings, and this guy is just sticking his head out the window, smoking a cigarette because he was too lazy to come down all the way out to the building. He's like, "Are you guys getting night crawlers?" And we're just like, "Yeah." He's like, "What are you guys going fishing?" And we're just like, me and my brother give us that look of like, "What's this guy?" He's like, "What does he know about fishing?" Right? Little do you know, that guy, he ended up taking my brother and I literally catfish fishing like every night to every other night in this like my entire like all the summers growing up, and it was awesome. So like kudos to him too. Like it was like my dad, my neighbor, and would take us. I mean, we were just the stories of the catfish that we would just get. So that's what got me into fishing is catfish. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, all the shows you watch, I'm sure you've probably watched some shows of like bass fishing, and like, I want to catch a bass. And then once you catch one, you're just like, okay, I can see the addiction for sure. Because catfishing, it's
what I was saying, and it's like, I love catfish and bluegill fish and stuff, but like that's what everybody thinks of when you think of fishing. Like you just cast a pole out, sit there and wait. Everyone thinks it's still going like you start to like tell them about this, like get into like this like sport part of it,
Yeah.
and how like it gets really competitive and you're constantly doing something
Oh, for sure.
to catch a bass. It's you're not just sitting there with a live bait and just waiting
Yeah.
for a catfish to bite or something.
And I tell people all the time, and I coach PE, or I mean teach PE, coach. Yeah, I teach PE. It's funny, like we call ourselves like we're gym coaches. So if my buddy's watching this podcast, I want to see if he gets that hidden joke. We're gym coaches. I'm gonna test him out. He says he's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna test him out. See like, hey, did you catch that one joke? See if he's actually listening. But yeah, it's not just luck. There's luck in every sport.
Oh yeah,
every sport there's luck, but most of the sports that you do, it is going to be anywhere from 80 to 90% skill, and there's always going to be a little luck that comes into it. Right. Yeah. I tell kids that don't know about fishing, the luck kind of comes in. And I'm probably partially wrong too, saying this is the luck is the size of the bass that you
I was gonna say the exact, yeah, that's exactly
right. So like
you get lucky catching a 5-pounder, but how you caught them, that was just skill.
How you caught them is not lucky. The luck comes in, was it a 5-pounder or that 2-pounder that was right by it? For sure. That, and I'm glad you said that. I'm glad we're on the same page. Look at that. We're on the same page. So yeah, so those that are watching, you could put in the comments, it is not luck. If you think it's luck, we'll go out there and we'll show you what's up, right? So yeah, so that's that one. So awesome generation of the Roberts, so your dad's side, your mom's side. That's great. All right, so the last question. Right now, the Roberts cousins are in 4th place, and I kind of talked about this. You're in 4th place in the standings in the Southern Division. And if you don't know about our divisions, I'll have a whole nother video. I don't want to get into it in the Vance Roberts podcast, but there's different ways to qualify for the ICAST class championship. Right now, you guys are in 4th place, the top 7 of that division. Move on. And the spring, how's your mindset going into the spring, knowing that we have, I think, 9 events? I think you're only signed up for 7, which you're okay, because I think you signed up for all the southern events.
Yeah.
What's the mindset?
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good strategy, knowing that you signed up for those events. What is your mindset to maintain that position, to keep it, or just swing for the fences and try to get a top 2 finish to get that automatic bid and just kind of get that stress to kind of go away?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how good we are with points. If we could get enough points to be able to move up.
Well, I can show you that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the lucky me. It's kind of like I'm the tournament director. I can let you know.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I want to stay in the I want to stay top 4. I don't want to get any lower than 4th place, but I definitely want to try to get higher than that, because I feel confident with the lakes that we're going to go fish, and we fished those lakes at least once before, so it's not like we're going to a new lake this year. Like, my biggest concern is Egypt in the early spring, because we had a really bad time last year. But I think we're slowly starting to understand that lake and get to know. I've watched so many videos. I tell you about my dad's watched so many videos on that, because he's obsessed with that lake, because he's trying to get to know it.
And as a boater, that's okay for him to get obsessed on that, because that leaves you to worry about something else, right? So let him worry about that. And that's a cool thing about the boater too. And you know what if you guys take 1st or 2nd in one of these events, then you just brush your shoulder off. You don't have to worry about any points.
Exactly.
You're just like, who needs points, right?
I don't even care about points anymore.
Yeah. No one needs points around here. It's like, we're talking about points, right? Points. For all the Allen Iverson fans out there. All right, that's our 8 questions. I want to thank you so much, Vance, for showing up. I think this one-on-one interview is awesome. I think it's a lot cooler getting to know one individual. Obviously, I love having 2 guests as well. I think it's we ran over our time for my free 40-minute Zoom, so I'm 3 for 3 with having to do 2 Zooms, which is great, but whatever. But yeah, I want to thank you so much for joining. I think you guys need to watch out for the Roberts cousins. They are mathematically a really phenomenal team. We've went over it. They're gonna be in the top 20. Literally 8 out of 10 events. We have 9 events left. So those events that you guys are gonna fish, I just proved it to you. Math is facts. Math is all facts. You can't lie about math. So thank you so much, Vance, for showing up. I definitely appreciate you.
This is fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, we'll see you in the next one.